Hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome down the Nook and welcome to the end of 2024. I hope you had a great year. I hope you made new friends, kept old ones, went on a trip, stayed home and read a book. Whatever it was that lifted your spirits, I hope you did it this year. And I hope you spent a bit of time with me. It's fun sharing whiskey with you guys. This is my top 10 whiskeys of 2024. These are not critically the best. These are the ones that I enjoy. I have all kinds of biases. They will come out in this list. But if you're here, maybe you're interested in what I like. So we'll do Scotch, we'll do Bourbon, we'll do Canadian, we'll do Irish, a little bit of international. And then I'll tell you what's in my glass. 3, 4. You know, I always start this list with the best Scotch of the year. Why? Because I drink more Scotch, I sip more Scotch, I share with you more Scotch than any other whiskey. And the best Scotch of the year isn't in the Nook. I don't like that. I really don't like sharing with you bottles that I don't have, but it was on a gift loan from James, and that is Daft Mill 2010 Winter Edition. That Daft Mill bottle for me hit everything I want. It was a beautiful single malt. I really enjoyed the ex-bourbon treatment. It just can't really communicate for my palate the creaminess, the light fruits, the maltiness. And if I had that bottle, it would be here as my Scotch of 2024. And I'll tell you, it would be in my glass as whiskey of 2024. Not that it came out then. These bottles are just, I had them this year. I don't have it. I returned it to James after sipping too much of it, sir. Thank you for that. So we'll get what's my next Scotch in here and we'll move down the list. So after my favorite Scotch of the year, we'll go to my favorite peated Scotch of the year. And this was tough. I had in my list, like that's what I do during the year. I put, oh, this is the best, and I replace it, and I replace it. And I had in my list Laphroaig Elements, the 1.0, beautiful peated Scotch. But then I sipped what I had on the shelf again, and whether it's memory or I have this now, my Scotch of the year, get new to me, not when it came out this year. The peated Scotch of the year for me is this Highland Park. This is actually number 3. It's not near the same peat that the Laphroaig, the Elements 1.0 that has far more peat, but this has whopping ABV, 64.1%, and it has a nice balance. I have been biased for the last couple of years towards sherry, so we've got some sherry, little lighter peat. Boy, you know, it drinks really, really well for me. So, the next thing would be an actual full sherried Scotch. And I have a bias towards this house. I don't drink a lot of Macallan, just warning you guys. If you're thinking Macallan, it's not it. But for sherried Scotch, I will yet review this Glenturret 15. I've had several sips, really enjoying it, but I haven't reviewed with you guys. So I'm going to go with something I have talked to you about. Not really a surprise, Tamdhu. Tamdhu for me is excellent. I saw Jeremy Super Sobers Club talk about Tamdhu 18 being a favorite of his. Never had the 18, but this a little bit more humble cask strength is excellent. It's just excellent. So the first 2 Scotches I actually have, remember I don't have the Daft Mill, but it would be my Scotch of the year. These 2 are fantastic. Both of them are sherry influenced, but here we've got some peat. There's no peat at all in this Tamdhu. And this cask strength, honestly, is affordable. I bought it kind of downtown, a little bit sketchy neighborhood in Edmonton, but I think $80-$90. And for that, at cask strength, I'd buy it all day long. Bourbon. Wow. Bourbon was a ride this year, and I've got several bottles I've opened that I enjoy quite a lot, but I haven't shared them with you, so it doesn't make it here. I'll start with an obvious. You know what? I'm going to go cask strength or batch strength or barrel strength or whatever, and you guys will know this one. If you've ever watched anything of mine, I have a bias to Booker's. And whatever this is, because, you know what, honestly, they don't tell us and we don't know. This is 2024-01E. It's the export edition of Booker's. but it's not 2024-01 because it doesn't match quite the days. Close, very close, but not the percentage. So, this 01E, what do we have here? Yeah, it's 62.2 and it's 7 years, 1 month, 12 days. So it's unique to export, but there is nothing wrong with a nice, sweet, spicy, cinnamon, oaky, and a little bit of excellent peanut crunch in there. There's definitely some peanut. I'm so biased to Booker's, but either way, even if you're not a Booker's fan, well, if you're not a Booker's fan, you're not going to like this because it's classic Booker's, but it is a strong bourbon, affordable in Canada, between $80 and $100, depends on where you go. I got this one for $69 Canadian. Can't go wrong. Now, my favorite bourbon of the year is going to be a surprise. Like, absolutely, it's a surprise to me. It is because I do not like their regular release. I do not like their 46 release. I've had 3 full bottles of private casks from Wine and Beyond and other places. They're okay. There is something about this that hit me this year. I was going to say today, but I actually am really enjoying this 101. I know everyone says, get the cask strength, get the special staves and all, and that's true. But this 101 for me this year, remember, this is just, I have other bourbons I like more. This year, could not be more surprised. Like, could not be more surprised. I truly don't like the regular Maker's Mark. It's even though it's a wheater, you'd think it'd be sweet and creamy. I find it a little bit bitter, a bit tannic, like not tannic, bitter, oak, over oaked. I don't know what it is, but this 101 fixes all of that. All of that. I will buy this, even though it's twice as much as the regular. Again, all the time. I don't know what to say. I was surprised. I hope you're surprised because it's not a fancy bourbon. It's not a very expensive bourbon. Of course, I got it on sale. That's just who I am. But this year, I look back at my notes, and again, no samples, no fancy expensive stuff in the sense that I had to own it or have it on the shelf for long enough to have it many, many times. And that way I know I understand it. This 101's solid. So moving off that, let's go to rye. Rye. It was a good year for rye, but for me, not a great year. That Milam and Green last year, I think I'm on my 4th bottle of that. I cannot talk enough about that Milam and Green, that port finished rye. Their hats off to them. I know they source the rye, but they use their own cask. Beautiful. Then there's a house that you all know that I love a lot, and that's Sons of Anne. Yes, they send me their stuff. All disclosure, I've been to their place. I've dumped sacks of rye into their hopper to be fermented and turned into whiskey. Clearly, I'm biased, but what they're doing with rye is awesome. And my rye of the year is actually, and I'm not that far into it, but is this Realms of Rye. This Realms of Rye, but the second release. The first one was great. A little more house style, a little more citrus, a little more probably what you're thinking of with rye, with a little more candied fruits with, I think they throw in there. I mean, their flavor house. But this one, the O2, the one that drinks dark, the one that drinks, what do they say? Dark fruit and cacao. The chocolates on here. Now that I've come back, that I did live with them, they're always great for that. This is a fantastic rye. It just is. I know it's sold out. I know you can't get it if you haven't bought it, but this absolutely is just a phenomenal rye. Now, having said that, I had lots of other excellent ryes. Last Straw surprised me. I still want to put that in a blind. You know what? I'm going to give you a runner-up rye because I had a fair amount of rye, and it's not the current release, but I will say this Alberta Premium, 64.1% on the shelf, can get it often on sale. This is an awesome rye. Dial down the rye spice, dial down all the dark fruits, absolutely. And this one gives a nice candy apple. I don't know if I can keep it up here. I wasn't sure I was going to share it with you, but this one you can get, right? Now remember, there's a Daft Mill over here. Anyways, here we are so far. We've done scotches, we've done bourbons, we've done ryes. You bet they're both Canadian. What else? Well, let's do, you know what? I should have done my blended scotch because that belongs over here with the scotch. This one surprised me, a good value for sure. This is my favorite blended scotch of the year. And I will say I did finally track down this McLean's Nose. And for an affordable bit of smoke in there, blended scotch should always be on the shelf. But my favorite blended scotch is actually this, Dewar's. Now, you might think, 21, he's done that before, double. I have, many times. I'm almost out of my stock where I was getting them for $39 Canadian. This is $98 Canadian, which is insane, 56%. And we're talking a 21-year-old, but it's finished in Mizunara cask. So this takes the regular Dewar's, which I like. Good blend, nice treatment, ex-bourbon, sherry, grain, malt. And they finished the whole thing in Mizunara cask. So that Mizunara oak, Japanese oak, I will say is really good on this one. It gives it a bit of funkiness, a bit of almost, like I said, like not a blue cheese, but a little bit of funkiness to it. I don't know how else to say that. And at 46%, and I think it's natural color non-chill. That's usually what they do. The regular 21 is that, and I don't see it on here, so I don't want to say. But anyways, for a blended scotch, and it's still at Costco, still here for $98 Canadian, can't be beat. So we've got our scotches, our bourbons, our ryes. Yep, they're both Canadian. And then we need to talk about some of the other ones. Now, I wish I had more Irish. If I was a Dark Cloud, you drink so many single grains, so many cool Irish. My collection just pales. And you've given me samples, but this is only bottles that I have bought. And so I'm going to have to go with actually another Bushmills. 2 years ago, I gave it to Bushmills. Last year was a Cologne, the rum and raisin. This Bushmills 12-year, it's only a 40%er, but I have to say it has good fruits, really good fruits. And that is a bit of a theme. Actually, almost all of these have, and that's not true at all, but there are sherried fruits, light nuts. And even though it's only 40%, I will say this particular 12-year, like I'm going to buy again. It's delicious. Like it's lovely. It's a great Irish. I've had some samples of Irish that would be a little better, but the rules tell me I've got to have a bottle. Then let's go. I don't have Canadian. Why didn't I? Okay, I'm going to go Canadian. Now, this year, I reached out to just about every Canadian distillery, and it was interesting. The small guys, the early startups, the local people, they're like, yeah, you know what, John, we understand. It's tough having a channel and no real monetary. I don't do PayPal, Patreon. Hey, but if you want to buy me a coffee, I do have that link. Anyways, and they responded, and about half of them did. None of the big guys, right? Like the big guys are like, I don't think it's legal to send you alcohol. We can't do that. I'm like, whatever, guys. I have other thoughts to say. But the young, the small, the independent sent me, and I sipped through at least 25 bottles of Canadian across the country. Fantastic, you guys. I'm a bit surprised that the one that I'm liking the most right now is pretty close to home. It's almost a local show, and it's actually down in Calgary. And I have to say, Ridgeland is doing some seriously good stuff. I'm sure you thought Two Brewers, where's John going to go, Macaroni's. I don't know how to shoot this one, but I did a disclosure. I went down there. I did a tour. They sent me like 6 of their bottles. This one I bought. My money purchased. It's really, really good. This is their single malt, but it's finished in their own would-be port. I don't know if they can call it port because they made it themselves here in Canada. It's the Glenbow whiskey. It's another 52.5. Clearly, if you haven't got a theme, almost all of these are cask strength. Surprisingly, I like this Irish at 40, but This one here, finished in port or aged a bit in port, is just a phenomenal Canadian whiskey. It really, really is. I don't know if you can get it anywhere outside their distillery. Sipped it that night, enjoyed it, bought in a bottle with my own cash, and it is just really, really good. So let's go international, and I haven't had much. I have not had much Japanese, a little bit here and there. What other internationals? I had some Swedish whiskey. I had a few others. But this one I bought with my own money. They did not send this. Indri. Now, this is Indri, the cask strength. And it's interesting because I posted my thoughts about it, and several people said they really didn't like it. They got burnt tires or some other weird things. And I will say I sipped every one of these before shooting today. So that's why we're little later in the day, because just tiny sips, and I enjoy this, but it has some thick fruits, some mango fruit, some dark fruits, and I could see how some of the strength of that against like oak. Now I can't remember if it's new oak, but like it's got a serious oak backing and some dark tropical fruits. I could see how that could put some off, but for me, phenomenal. I actually really, really like it. So we've got Scotch, and then we've got some bourbon, and we've got rye and runner-up rye, and Canadian and international. I'm not even actually sure what the camera sees at this point. I just assume you can see me on. I do want to give you a surprise whiskey, and what I mean is, sometimes I'll have a couple of whiskeys or even just one or whatever, and I'm like, you know what, I got to reset my palate. I got to try something different. I don't want another whiskey like I understand. And this whiskey is the most surprising. Really like it just like that, late in the night, and I'll try this, and it is a rice whiskey. It's from Last Straw, and it stands apart from anything I have behind me. And I've got some quinoa, and I've got some lentil, and I've got some different whiskeys. And this brown rice whiskey is really, really good. Like really good. I don't know if it's a regular for them. I'll probably take a long time to go through it, but this is like something everyone here should try. Even more than some of my top picks, because it is so unique. This a brown rice, and I think it's new oak, and I can't remember, but it's natural color, non-chill filtered, 45%, and it's a banger. Like it just is. It's so good. So one of the things that I started with here is a bottle that I don't have up here, and I don't know if I put it in digitally or not. I guess I haven't done the editing yet. But I will say that Daft Mill Winter was fantastic, and I saw it on sale for I think $150, and I should have bought it. Because I didn't really realize till I kind of went through it all how good it is, and I loved it. And if I could have that, it's my whiskey of the year. That Daft Mill was phenomenal. It's awesome. I don't have it with me. I didn't keep any back. I gave the bottle back to James. So from the bottles that I have here, these are excellent to me. I think they're all reasonable except for the one you can't get. And that's this one here. This Realms of Rye is just unique. It's where is it? 50 some percent, 59? 59.9%. It's their second release. This is bottle 4 of 333. And this one is in my glass as my runner-up whiskey of the year. Daft Mill was amazing, but this is really good too. And I have more rye than anything else. I try to drink, reasonable rye. We're talking under $100 rye. This one is not that. It would cost you more, but it has plum and fig and cocoa and dark chocolate. Well, it's got some sweetness, so dark but sweet and semi-sweet dark chocolate, and it's just fantastic. This is such a great rye. Anyways, I hope you guys had a fantastic 2024. I know I did, and these bottles are here. I clearly have been walking through them, but I had twice as many episodes on samples or short bottles or other things that gave me just a breadth of experience not reflected here, but I stand behind any of these. These are excellent whiskeys. I hope you can find them. I hope they're affordable. In 2025, I hope, again, that you have some courage and strength to do things you enjoy. Life is short. Cheers to all those that we lost this year, a few more. And I pray health and happiness to you. May you have good whiskey like this Realms of Rye in your glass to 2025 and beyond. Cheers, friends.